Welcome back to This Takes the Cake. We're super excited and honored to have another Sara with no H, by the way. I love that. Sara Kincaid. She is the president and COO of Aisle Planner, which, like I just said, we eat, breathe, and live Aisle Planner because it keeps us so organized. And I'm excited to learn, obviously I met you a few years ago, but excited to dive deeper into Aisle Planner and learn about your background and how you got involved with Aisle Planner and all of those things. So
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. Super excited to just talk and connect and give a little bit more of the background and the why behind the company. But really appreciate it. Excited to be on today.
love it. So how did you get into the wedding Aisle Planner world? Let's start there.
So I actually fell in. I have now been working in the events industry for 15 years. I totally fell into it by accident. I
Love
quit
it.
corporate America in 2010 after the first recession and all of that. Quit corporate America, went back to my passion, which was actually personal training and nutrition,
Oh,
and
I love it.
picked up a catering job on the side to just balance income,
Of course.
and had no expectations of kind of doing that long term. Was just like, this is some easy money. I'll take a few shifts a week, not a big deal, right? Uh, Loved it. Quickly found myself more in like a event management sales position for them, and then it spiraled from there. So um, started in catering, then opened a venue with a local team here in San Diego. Was their director of sales and operations for in restaurant events, as well as we were in a building where we had a lot of event space. So we would do event space or events in other spaces. Joined on with a wedding planning company out here and was doing wedding planning at the same time.
Love it.
And then moved into more of a vendor role. But yeah, so kind of been slowly migrating through the industry. And one of the things I found during my time working most after kind of getting out of the hands-on events roles and working in that vendor role, I worked for a national linen company and realized that I really liked the business coaching side, working with newer planners, working with planners who were looking to elevate their business. So kind of jumped in a little bit to business coaching as well, to help them with just business process optimization, business management, sales management, all of that kind of world. And had been friends with Rob and Tina, the founders of Aisle Planner, for a few years. Would see them on the road. We all live in San Diego. The company
Okay.
is founded here in San Diego. And um, back in 2021, we were honestly at Wedding MBA having a glass of wine, talking about current struggles and issues. We were just coming out of the pandemic. The industry was still trying to find its footing and like where the go forward plan was. And we were just having a glass of wine and kind of talking about strategy. And the conversation continued after Wedding MBA. We started talking about me joining the team, joined in more of a business development role, kind of transitioned forward as we grew and continued to change our trajectory of where the business was going. And recently took over as president. So it's
That's
it's it's
awesome.
been a fun transition, but it's definitely been a whirlwind of 15 years.
Right. No, that's awesome. And so tell everybody, when did Aisle Planner actually start, or when was it founded?
So Aisle Planner, we like officially opened the doors to our first customer January 2013.
Okay.
They started working on it closer to 2011, 2010, like that area. But we officially brought in our brand new first customer January 2013. So
Okay.
we
Cool.
just had our 12th anniversary.
I would say congrats. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So for anyone that doesn't know what Owl Planner is that's listening, let's give them like an overview role of how you utilize Owl Planner, who are the people to, obviously use them.
Yeah. So Aisle Planner is a business management system for event professionals. So it is your sales management, your business management, and your project management system all in one location.
It's amazing,
You
by the
can,
way.
you what?
I said it's amazing, by the way.
Thank you very. I appreciate that. No, I mean it. The goal that's behind Aisle Planner from the very beginning, it was started by a wedding pro. She was a luxury destination wedding planner between Hawaii, Tina, between Hawaii and California, and she honestly, it started from frustration, right? Trying to do all these things that she needed to do with her clients from a remote capacity, working in 5 or 6 disparate systems, and she just was like, this is ridiculous. There's got to be an opportunity to have us working better so that this can be a more efficient process. So you can use you can use the sales and business management side only, you can use the project management side only, but it definitely is the most valuable if you're working in it as a cohesive all-in-one type platform.
Right. No, absolutely. And so is it mainly planners that use it or other vendors as well? Because obviously we use it as planners, but I mean, I guess
Absolutely.
anybody.
Absolutely. I mean, at the end of the day, it's just a tech tool to help support business process management for event pros. So I would say the ones that are able to use it the most inclusively or the most completely would be planners, venues, and caterers, because a lot of venues and caterers do a lot of planning as well if you're working like within the project management system. But we have quite a few florists, stationers, photographers, um, kind of you name it. I mean, so yeah, it really is for anybody. Like I said, we have just the sales CRM side. And so you can use that as an officiant, as a
Yeah.
DJ, anybody, if you're looking to just help support your inbound lead management and your sales process.
No, absolutely. So from Aisle Planner starting almost 12 years ago to now, like what would you say are like the biggest changes that you've seen like technology wise? Like
Ugh.
a lot. It's
Well,
growing
I
every
mean,
day.
yeah, right. I mean, I think back to 12 years ago, and like 12 years ago, I mean, some of us were still on flip phones. Like, not everybody even had a camera. Like, I mean, there was so much difference. But um, really, at the foundation, I will say we've kept Aisle Planner pretty true to like what it is and how it was started. But obviously, there's been a lot of change. And we'll talk about this a little bit later, but now, especially as we move forward with the conversation around AI um, and that I think the biggest real change is that planning in general has become, you're not as locked into like your local community, right?
Right.
Because of technology. And so with that, the opportunity to be more inclusive with clients, to create better communication systems, we're constantly manipulating the platform to handle the challenges and the needs of the industry, to make sure that we're giving you a seamless process. But I mean, I'll truly say like the foundation of it has stayed pretty tried and true. And I know we'll get into this a little bit later, but it's been really important to us to make sure that what it does foundationally works well,
Right.
and
Absolutely.
and keeping it clean and keeping it as valuable as possible.
So are we getting an app soon? Thinking of
I,
technology.
I know.
Uh,
We actually are. We are currently, the thing with an app, because the system does so much, so we have to be
right.
really cognizant of how we are introducing an app. So what our thoughts are most likely at the beginning, creating an app that's a very like on-site app, right? So it is your timeline, it is your layout and seating chart, and it is your vendor communication management. So things that you need to be able to do, make it change the
Access. Yeah.
timeline, send it to all the vendors, make it change to the layout, send it to all the vendors, have it in real time right there. So all of this you can do from a iPad or something of that
Yeah, of
extent
course.
right
Of
now.
course.
And the reason so that's kind of the initial thought process of where we would go with an app.
Because
Then
that
we might
happens to
expand
me
out.
like on wedding day. I'm like, because we upload all of our contracts
Yeah.
and everything, and I'm like, oh, we got to log into Aisle Planner. Let me just check that contract real quick because I know that that one's always updated in real time, and I may
Yes.
not necessarily have the most printed recent copy, you know. So,
Yeah.
um, no, it would be
Yeah.
awesome to see that. And I mean, I don't even know how the brains behind transitioning from that to an app. I can only imagine, but I think when that does happen, that was going to be even more amazing. So,
It's going to have to be different, especially when you're looking at like the layout and seating chart,
of course,
because that's so layered on, and it really, the difference, like it technically would work right now on a mobile phone, except for the fact that there is so much data behind it, it overwhelms the pixel capacity of what a mobile phone has,
right.
which is why it works on an iPad, right? So when that's kind of also the conversation, is making sure that it's the most valuable that we can offer, so we're not spending time and energy just to spend time and energy to like check that box, but really making sure it's a powerful tool for our community out in the field.
Right. And I think, moving forward too, like our clients, I'm always like, oh, check out Planner. It's up to date, with the
Uh-huh.
budget and stuff. But if they had, because we live in a world where we want everything to
We live on
be,
our phone.
yeah, we live on our phone. We want it just to be easy and, all those things. And they're like, and not that it's hard to log in on the computer, it's not that hard. But if they could just click on an app and look at it, that's the world we live in, which is crazy. So I'm excited for the future of
Yeah.
having that, and not necessarily having the layout, but like access day of to the contracts and things like that, that is
Okay.
crucial. So, um, that's awesome.
Yeah. No, it's definitely, it's become more of a conversation piece on the forefront. We realize that it's something, like I said, everything is mobile enhanced. So aside from the layout, you can access everything on the application via the mobile. You still have to go to aisleplanner.com and sign in,
Of course.
but yeah, it is something that is, we realize the need, and are assessing how best to move forward with that.
Right. No, that's awesome. Okay. So this is a question I have for you. So
Yeah,
do any like brides or couples just use Owl Planner? Like, let's say they maybe don't have a planner, or somebody that we provide it, with their package. Do, do brides or couples just use Owl
they do.
Planner?
They
Okay,
do.
cool. That's awesome.
So it yeah, we definitely see that we still have, I will say, um and it's absolutely available to them, right? Like,
Yeah.
so it's a hugely valuable for someone who might be doing, I'm gonna say the awful word, DIY,
Yeah.
or
Right. Yeah. Of course.
like,
Or they
for,
enjoy
or
planning and they want to do it themselves.
yeah, and hey, I mean, I would say there's a pretty strong percentage of the industry who got into it because they planned their own event,
Yep.
because they planned their own wedding, right? And fell in love with that
Absolutely.
process. So it happens quite a bit. But there are two ways to think about that. So yes, as an individual, I think it's worth its weight in gold because it's keeping you organized. It's giving you those professional tools that you can use as an individual to make sure that you are creating the event of your dreams and not missing any of the steps, right? But I also talk to people who, like, if you are a company who just offers coordination, or a venue who offers coordination and they like to step out of the process until 3 months till, or something like that, building the Aisle Planner platform into your cost of services and offering it to your client, letting your client do all of the work on the back end themselves, and then being able to just jump in. I can't tell you how much that would have helped me when I was still in coordination, like trying to find all the
Right.
missing pieces, right? Trying to like chase down contracts or chase down vendor
Hmm.
information or understand what's truly been done before the project is handed over to me. So that's a great way to think of it as well. If you are a planner, or you are a venue, or you are a caterer, where you do help handle the day of coordination, but you don't want to be as hands-on during the entire process.
No, absolutely. And so, I mean, we've been a big supporter and believer for Owl Planner for a long time, but we now offer it in our month of planning. So
Yeah.
even though we're only coming on board that 4 to 6 weeks prior, if they sign with us a year prior, they get access to Aisle Planner. They can upload everything because it's way more detailed than other platforms of all the things you can do, obviously, because it is a paying service, not a free one like a lot of the others. So,
Yeah,
and they really enjoy it. And then by the time that, it's 4 to 6 weeks prior, like we know contracts, we know so many things that we wouldn't know if we're like just meeting them for the first time to scramble and find their contracts and oh, I forgot to book
exactly.
that or did this or so and
Yeah,
I love the notes section for Our Planner. So every time we do a call or a Zoom, we upload all of our notes. So 6 months from now, I'm like, gosh, what was that phone call about or what was that Zoom call about? And everything's in there. So it's another way, like we have a wedding in 2 weeks, and it's just a way for me to go back through, reread all my notes through the whole year, because trying to go through a million emails is not going to be fun, So as long as people use it, like it's so efficient.
exactly. I think and that's the key word right there, right? Is it's, like anything, I use the analogy sometimes, like when you started your business, you didn't just go out and jump into the field and say, I'm here, world, like book me, right? You spent
Right.
time and energy. You built out a brand, you built out a website, you took the time to really decide how you wanted to present yourself to the industry. Technology's the same. There's Technology is a framework. It's a way to support your business. It's not, you don't buy it as a already done for you conversation, right? We have a lot of templates in there and you can use them, but that's not your process. So if you yeah I it's so important that when you're taking on any technology, you really take the time to understand what it can do, how best to utilize it, and put that time and energy into creating your back end of it so that you've got that to support you as you move forward. um yeah, but I love that because I can't imagine how much it's helped your team to have all of that information already locked into your system. That way
It's
it's like
so
right
nice.
there and you can just jump in and you're like, ha ha. And if there's something that they missed, you can quickly send them a comment or send them a link, say like, hey, I need you to get this done ASAP, right? But it's like
It's
everything's
so
clean,
nice.
everything's organized. Yeah.
So let's just say one of the lead planners in our office is in an office and I needed to know something. Like I log into Aisle Planner and I have a copy of the
Mhm.
contract or maybe the notes or anything, and I'm not having to bug them and email them and be like, hey, can you send me this? Like it is weight in gold for sure,
Yeah.
for those things. So that's awesome. Okay, so with AI these days of everything that's happening in Chat GPT, like what will you guys be incorporating that stuff into eventually Aisle Planner?
So we're looking at opportunities to enhance enhance the tool without depleting what it does at the
Right?
baseline, right? Like
What a
there's
human
certain
does.
yeah, like so we're looking at it to help with like onboarding, to help with like building out
Love it.
documents, right? Things like that. So like, hey, AI, can you help me build out what a perfect vendor check or vendor pull list looks like for day of events, right? And like, and then here's the thing with AI, and it's a it's a great place to start, right? What
Agree.
AI I think does for you is it gives you the inspiration of where to start. You shouldn't be using AI as like your one and
Copy and
done.
paste. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
agree.
yeah. Like AI should always be helping to get the juices rolling or like make sure you're fact checking and have everything that you need, but it shouldn't be what you do. So we're looking at it in that way on the pro side. So like being able to help build out documents or build out checklists, that kind of thing. And then on kind of our side, but the user experience side, helping using AI to help the onboarding process. So like a quick like, hey, like let me like tell me how you want to use this system so I can make sure that you're utilizing and building it out the best way possible, right? And then using AI to kind of push them in that way. So those are some ways that we're kind of looking at it internally of how we can take hold of this new technology. Unlike some that have been out there, I think that this one, AI is going to be around. AI is just now a part of our life. I think it's
I know it's
going
wild.
to It is wild, right? Well, and I
I'm
mean, think
like,
of
wow,
even
they
just a
wrote
couple.
that so much better. They wrote it how I should have wrote it, you know? So, like you said, it's a
Yeah.
good starting point because sometimes I'm like, gosh, how do I say this nicer? And then I'll put it in there. I'm like, how do and I'm like, oh yeah, this is perfect.
I was talking to someone yesterday and they're like, I need to write this email, but like, I know I'm going to come off in a not so nice manner. So they literally wrote the email and then threw it in Chat GPT, like, make this sound nicer.
Yeah.
And then like
It's
put it
always like,
back in
thank you for your concern. I would love to help you or something, you know? And I'm like, oh yes.
there.
Because I'm very like direct, straight to the point type thing. So like I don't mean anything by it, but it's nice to have it to soften things up for sure.
Absolutely. And so, and that's where I say, like, we're looking at how we can utilize it to create value and help ease the process. I mean, AI, it's still new. It's a little scary in some ways. A little bit off topic here, but like we've seen people use AI to create events that aren't technically able to actually be done, right? And then people see them out on online, think, wow, that's amazing, I want that for my event. And you're like, yeah, well, that you literally can't have that, sorry.
Right.
So I think there has to be balance of where we pull in those types of new innovative technologies, and then the human side too.
Right. I know for sure. I'm like, oh, I have an assistant to help. So we recently used it to do like a hair and makeup schedule. So we did like we have 9 girls doing hair and makeup, 45 minutes per session. We're starting
Yeah,
at 9. We need to be done by 2. And like it did it. I mean, obviously you want to go back through and double check it, but like I'm like, wow, this just saved my brain so much like energy.
totally. And
So
again, the more information you give it, the more accurate it's going to be. But
yeah,
yeah, I've heard people like create weekly meal plans on it. Like, hey, I want a weekly meal plan that's this many calories with these macros, and I can't have this, and this. Create my like my meal plan and my shopping list, and like
that's
cool.
amazing. I never thought about it using it for that. Dang. I use a little app to track things, which is so hard. So I'm gonna try that now.
Right?
So
People are like, it's like
yeah,
saved me so much time because I'm just like, you put in all the specifics and then it's like, all right, here you go. So yeah, definitely ways you can use it in the industry too.
no, that's cool. Okay, so let's talk about some real life success stories from. I guess we can talk about some of my clients from Aisle Planner, and then maybe if you
Yeah,
have any stories or thing that's happened in the past. This past December, I had a client reach back out. They had gotten married earlier in the spring, and they were like, "Can you bring our Aisle Planner back up? I need to download everything for write-offs." And I was like, absolutely. So we unarchived All Planner, and I had it all right
yeah.
there for her. She didn't have to do any of the work, budget, everything was all there. She was like, oh my gosh, you saved me so much time. So it was awesome.
I think that's so, without bringing specific names or anything like that into the conversation, but it's still, I love when I'm out in the industry and I run into somebody and they're like, yeah, Aisle Planner literally changed my business. Aisle Planner allowed me
Hmm.
to work smarter, not harder, right? Aisle Planner allowed me to get time back in my day. It's one of the things that I definitely promote the most with technology is like technology, once you've created it, once you've put that time and energy into it, it gives you back that time tenfold because now you
Oh,
aren't
yeah.
reinventing everything every
Mm-hmm.
single time, right? So but yeah, in the hearing people come and say like, this is the reason I was able to maintain my business because I had Aisle Planner that gave me the foundation to be successful, to hire other people, to be able to grow and scale my business because of a platform like this. So it's, and I hear it all the time. It's just it's really amazing to know that we're having there is that value add in the community. Aisle Planner, you probably noticed we have the 3 rings, right? So
Hmm. Yep.
our Aisle Planner logo is 3 wings. They're intertwined, but they represent our 3 core pillars, which is our customer, our community, and then our company. And it's
Oh,
really
cool.
important to us that
Okay.
everything that we do is valuable to all 3, right? So we're never going to go out and do something for the company that is going to cause harm or disvalue our community or our customer. We want to make
Of
sure
course.
that anything we do is, and because of that, we're really ingrained in the community. We want to hear from our community. What do you guys need? What, and it's within reason. There are some things where we're like, that
An
sounds
app.
amazing, but we're never going there, right? I'm not
Right.
talking about
No,
the
for
app,
sure. Um,
but yeah, I mean, I think that we hear it on a daily. We just hear like, this changed my life when it came to planning. This gave me my life back.
right.
And then there's the success stories of their clients, right? So taking it, because we mostly talk to the businesses, but then hearing from them, like, this is the reason, having Aisle Planner, putting this in my sales proposal, this is the reason why the customer booked with me. This is the reason why I was able to book the number of events I wanted to book in this time frame, because I had this system. And they see it and they're like, wow, this is amazing. This is professional. This absolutely elevates you and sets you apart versus using Google Docs or using something
Womp
like that.
womp. Right. No,
And I mean, we all are going to still use them, right? But when you send a file folder to a customer and you're like, here's
right.
everything you need for your wedding, and it's in a Google like
Yeah.
folder, it's just,
It's not the same.
it's not the
No.
same.
And
It
it's just
really
not
isn't.
personalized. Like we upload their photo and we put obviously the name and the date and all those things. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, as a business, like you were saying, what we would do without Out Planner as well. I mean, it's like I said, we literally are uploading into it daily. And so when it comes time for the wedding, like everything's cohesive and it saves a ton of time. So if I have a client that's like, gosh, can you resend that band contract? But absolutely, it's uploaded in Output.
Right.
Like everything's uploaded. And so it just makes it, I mean, that's our job is to, if a client asks 10 times to be redundant, we want to get it to them, but now we can just say it's an out planner.
Yeah. No, I mean, the time save is like insane.
Yeah.
Um, and that's the thing. It's like, businesses are run by technology. You wouldn't have a major events company out there trying to do everything through Google Docs, right? Or
Right.
like sending Word PDFs. Like, George P. Johnson isn't out there trying to run their system like manually. It just doesn't happen. Like, in order to be successful, you've got to invest in the tools to create that success. And technology is such a vital piece. And it really is. This is a bit of a caveat, but we hear often, especially from smaller planners, from newer planners, from newer venues, um, technology, like, I don't, it's too expensive, or there's like, we don't understand. We need to wait. We need to wait to pull that in until we're we see that revenue already. And my answer to that is, one, it's a cost of doing business, right? So it should be
Amen.
built into your
Yep.
service package plan. Like, your services should cover all of the business tools that you use in order to be successful within your business. But also, going back and trying to recreate your business once you're already up and running and flowing into a technology in order to be able to scale is so much harder than just doing it from the very beginning. And when you look at it, yeah, so it's I think just understanding that value, understanding how it can implement, and then hearing from people firsthand, hearing from our community firsthand how it truly did set them apart or set them up for success, or allow them to go on vacation and not be on their phone 24/7 because
Right.
everything's lined out for their client. They're doing back and forth emails of, hey, where are we? What do I need to do? What's next? How can I help? Right? Everything's right there. They've got a checklist for the next 2 weeks. They've got their line item actions. They know what they need to do. And you can go on vacation and you can literally unplug, which
I know I get so
is,
excited when I get the emails and they've been checking away of everything they got done. And they didn't even have to communicate to tell me I saw it. So I'm like, okay, she got that done. We're good, which
yeah,
is really awesome. So,
no.
yeah, no, it is wild how Owl Planner does save a ton of time for sure. So,
I mean, I think back to when I was running my venue, and if I had had, like, if I had something like this, it would have been I would have been so much more successful. I mean, I had one year where I counted back after, and why am I so burned out? Oh, there were 19 days, 19 physical days in the entire calendar year where I did not step foot inside that venue.
Oh my
That is
God.
not
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, that's wild. That's wild.
So
And like for instance, our other cities that have offices, we require everybody to have Aisle Planner just so if something was to happen or someone was to get sick, like we can step in, we have access to everything. It just makes it all seamless. But like when you really break it down, depending on what package you have, like I tell my girls, depending on how many events and things and you know how many it could be anywhere from $5 to $20 per client just to have the platform. So when they look at it that way, like, oh yeah, okay, well, this client spent this much and only $20 just to cover this. So in the scheme of
exactly.
things, it's nothing.
No,
So
it really isn't. I
so
mean,
use that next time someone says they can't afford it.
yeah, the starting package is 15 projects. And
Yeah,
if you've got a customer on every single package, it's $3.50 a month. It's,
exactly. Yeah,
yeah, it's less than $40 a year. Like, and that's for the smallest. And then, as you get bigger, that goes down. But it's very, very, very economical for what it gives you. And like I said, and then you can actually build it into your service as exponentially more than what it costs
oh
because
yeah,
the value
absolutely.
is so great to that end user.
No, for sure. So what I guess would you say things that have happened or I don't know necessarily call it hiccups, but through like obviously keep building and growing Owl Planner, like what was the like hardest thing that you guys have experienced?
I think for us, it's we're I'm going to go back to something I said earlier, and we really focus on our foundation. We focus on why we were built, what we were built to do, and staying true to our foundation. However, in the last 12 years, obviously, there's been a lot of technology that's come into
Right?
play. And more so, we see there's a lot of fly by night technology. So, a challenge, something that we are really focused on is really assessing technology as it comes. What, is there value? Is that something we should put time, energy, efforts, resources into trying to figure out if it should be done? So I would say that that's probably the greatest thing. We'll get like comments all the time like, oh, why don't like blah 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 who came out 38 seconds ago does this, why don't you do it? And I'm like, well, one, like they developed it yesterday. So developing
Right.
something new is a lot easier than developing like redeveloping something.
Right.
But two, like foundationally, like that's really cool, but it's foundationally not something you need in order to operate and run your business successfully. It's a fun, like extra. It's a fun, like that's cool. Like I'm sure your end client will like be stoked on it, but like, is it something that foundationally helps you run your business?
Right.
No. Right. So I would say that keeping up with, but then at the same time, keeping up with emerging technologies. We Over the last couple of years, it's a 12-year-old company. It's built on a 14-year-old platform, right? The technology that was out 14 years ago is not the same as today. It doesn't work the same. It doesn't operate the same. There's a lot more customization and things like that come into new script writing tools. So over the last couple of years, we had to really make that decision to step back a little bit and handle a lot of tech debt, right? Which feels like to the community we're not doing anything, but what we're doing is optimizing the back end of the platform so that we can continue moving forward and create those new fun things and bring
Right.
in some of those bells and whistles. And that's just something organically you have to do as a corporation, as a tech company, as you get
I know it's
longer
like
and longer in
never
the
ending.
it is. It's not absolutely like, you learn past life. I was worked heavily in the tech space, and it's like as soon as you feel like everybody's like confident in one language, a new language comes out, and that
Newest.
one's like for naught. So yeah, I mean, it definitely is, and that's a struggle because you want your community to constantly see how you are optimizing and how you are continuing to create and build and make the system better for them. But there's also that, like, at some point you do have to kind of step back a little bit and focus on the foundation, the true foundation of the building. You can't build You went out and you built a 3-story building on a foundation that can support a 3-story building, and then 10
Right.
years later you decide you want a high rise. You can't just build on top of it, right? You've got to go back to the foundation. You've got to start from scratch, and
Yep.
then you can build up. So
No, very, very good point. I like that analogy. I might use that sometimes.
do it.
I love it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, okay, so fun question.
Yeah.
So predictions on wedding planning in the next 5 to 7 years. Like, how do you see that evolving? Because I mean, the 3D render, I mean, all these things we can do now, it's wild. So, what are your
I,
thoughts?
yeah. So don't worry, everybody. Like, planners aren't going anywhere. Weddings aren't going anywhere. People are still going to need vendors. I think that
Mm.
you're actually seeing a little bit of a shift. So there was a point, and again, I'm going to talk about video and expanding our community opportunity, right? And you know this, you do a lot of destination. There was 15, 20 years ago, destination was a lot harder because like there wasn't a way to communicate if you weren't in that same space. And for some of our larger communities, San Diego,
Right.
North Carolina, the coastal areas, Dallas, Chicago, um, not as big of a deal. You've got a huge network there, right? But like when you're somewhere in middle America, like, and your network's teeny tiny and or non-existent. So I use that as like a caveat. Planners aren't going anywhere. The need for vendors is not going anywhere. AI isn't going to take over. It's not going to become a
Right.
DIY
You won't have a robot DJ.
industry. Yeah, right? Like people are still here. And what I actually see happening because technology is coming in so aggressively and because there is such a technology aspect of what we do today from a planning coordination floor, whatever it is, right? Whoever you are in the industry, I'm actually seeing that the newer generations are stepping back and wanting a little bit more of that hands-on experience. So they're saying that's great and they're still happy to use the technology during the process, but they don't want to feel like a number anymore, right? They
Oh,
don't
yeah.
want to feel like they're talking to a bot constantly. They want interaction. And because of that, we're actually seeing that they are pulling more vendors back into the mix. Things that they were saying, I can do that myself. Now they're saying, no, I want somebody who knows me, who gets me, who really understands and can do it right. I want them back in the mix. So, it goes through, we go through cycles for sure, and the industry sees changes. But at the end of the day, I feel like it always comes back to we are selling we are a service-based industry, but our service is ourself for the most part,
Of
right?
course. Yeah.
Florists, yes, design, but like still, you're selling yourself. Like as a DJ, they want to know that they connect with you, not that you can play a really good beat, right? Like as a
Right.
photographer, they want to know that you get their aesthetic, not that you can like take 200 pictures. Like, so I think that you're seeing that evolution come back a little bit where they're actually wanting more interaction. They're wanting more of that in-person experience versus leaning into the DIY.
No,
So
absolutely.
I
And
think it's
and
I think it's a good thing. I think everybody's coming down to the roots. You're seeing events get a little bit smaller again, but again, I think that's a lot because of wanting that more controlled, organic, um, really engaged experience versus
yeah, no, I agree. And back to just talking about like robotic things, like whenever I call and it's like press one, and then you listening to a thing, and I'm like, I just want to speak to somebody, I just want to talk. I just want to talk to a human.
right. And it's like, and don't stop me from being able to do it. Like I don't mind if it's like this is how we're going to direct you to the right person, right? But
Yeah,
like don't stop me from being able to get to somebody. Like we use one way we already use AI is from a customer service standpoint. We have an AI bot who reads all of our help articles, and then when you ask a
yes,
question,
which is
that's your
awesome because
first
they
point.
answer my questions a lot of the times.
He's
Yeah,
really good.
yeah,
And it's kind of
they're so
scary how
smart.
like right, and it's kind of scary
How much do you
how
pay them?
He's a lot cheaper than another CS person. But no, I mean, but what he does is he goes through. He answers those things where he can just pull it from a help article. His empathy and his like the way he communicates is pretty. I don't know why I'm calling him a he. He's not a thing, but his name is Finn, so therefore he's a he. But yeah, but we still also, as soon as you say talk to a team member, like you get a real person, right? So I think that there has to be that balance. There has to be that way to feel like you're still engaged with a person and that you're still important, right? That
Right.
you're not
Yeah.
just like, here I sold you, here's your process, put it on rote and like step away and have them just like, wait, like what happened? So
Right. No, you guys are very awesome with customer service. And when we're trying to figure out something or something new that you guys implanted, you guys have been really good with the customer service. So appreciate.
it's it's
So,
definitely it's a core of ours.
right. So
Making
how
sure.
many is involved with Outplanners, the company as a whole?
So this is usually very surprising to most people. We are a
Okay.
fairly small company.
Okay.
So we are a company of 15.
Okay.
We've ebbed and flowed over the years. We've gotten bigger, we've gotten smaller. But it's important to, like I said, and we can put certain technologies in place, like Finn can answer or can try to answer, and then you can get a real person. But yeah, we're small. We are a small team. We are spread throughout the country. So
I
our
would say,
corporate
is
office
everybody
is
US based or some overseas as
everybody's
well?
US based. We do have two developers who are in Mexico,
Okay. Oh, cool.
who have been with
Not
us for
far.
a very, very, very long time. But yeah, we kind of are spread throughout the country. We do have a corporate office here in San Diego, but gosh, now only about a third of our team is located out here. The rest are kind of scattered. So
That's cool.
yeah, it's a smaller team than most think.
Right. Well, and just with the technology these days, like you don't have to be in the office. I mean, back in the day, like I'd have to go in the office to check my email. Like you couldn't look at it on your phone. So you didn't know what emails or what was happening till you got back to the computer, which
And
sometimes I wish that was still a thing.
I was gonna say, I don't think that's the worst thing in the world. Like I think back
Yeah.
to like, when we were kids and you didn't have a cell phone. Cell phones didn't exist.
No.
You didn't have computers in the house. That didn't exist, right? Like you went to work, you did your job, you left work, and that was the end of your day. And then you were in your personal life. And as amazing as technology is, like scope creep is a real thing, right? Tech creep is huge. And like the fact that you have access 24/7, 365, and people have access to you, which I know is a big issue in our industry, especially because
Right.
we are people pleasers at the end of the day. That is why we get into this industry. We want to help make things better for everyone else. And those boundaries are so important, having a space that's just for work if you do work from home, being able to shut it down, get away from it, not look at your computer when you are spending time with your family, friends, close ones, or your dog, whatever.
Right.
Right.
No, agree. No, for sure.
So
Yeah, I'm just thankful we didn't have like cameras and videos and all those things in our age. Like nowadays,
oh,
you can't get away with anything if you're a kid.
same. I'm
Everything's
like,
caught on camera.
discussion for a different day,
No
but
blackmail here.
I watch my nieces and nephews and like they're just the things that they're already influenced by and
Oh, it's
how
wild.
quickly kids are growing up because they're watching, and it's just like get
My
off.
niece is 6
Yeah,
and we communicate through email. Obviously, she can't have a phone yet, but like she'll email me. It's so
that's
darn cute.
insane.
Yeah. Yeah, she email me. It's so fun
Wow.
though.
I
But
was
yeah,
gonna
I
say my
mean,
huh?
that's what they know, that's what they know. It was way
Yeah,
different, so that's
yeah.
good.
No,
Um,
it's going to be very interesting to see what happens when this generation kind of grows up, because they've never not had instant gratification. They've never not had
mhm.
technology. They've never known. It's yeah,
Yeah,
wild.
no, it's
But
a whole nother world. Okay, so for the time that you've been with Owl Planner, what do you have any stories that take the cake that have happened or experienced or
oh gosh, um,
I don't know if any, I don't know.
I mean, I feel like my take the cake stories are like way before I was with Aisle Planner, when I was actually like on the
Well we can
field
take one of
engaging
those.
with customers.
We can take
Oh,
one of those.
like I feel like I've had some, I mean, and we all have, right? We've all just had
Right.
stories where like you're just, how did I even, how did I
Like,
even
is this
manage
even
that? Like,
real? Yeah.
right? Is this even real? Exactly. Um, like, and we all have those because it's what we learn by, right? And like I remember I had a backyard wedding, and it was my first ever backyard wedding, and I thought I was super super like detailed, and like we had all of our bases covered. It's just hard when you are not at a venue and it's not a controlled space, and showing up morning of, and like they had a rager at the house the night before, and I
Oh,
mean the
okay.
property was trashed,
Oh
like
God.
beer cans and bottles everywhere. The pool furniture is in the pool.
Oh,
um like
oh
just
my God.
absolute
Something out of a
chaos and just
movie.
in destruction. And I get there and I'm like, what in the world? Like, I didn't book a team to clean up a property before we start like setting up today.
Setting up. Yeah.
Things like that. But I can't really, like, within Aisle Planner specifically, I can't really think of anything where I'm like, that takes the, like, that was
Is there any
just,
crazy questions people's ever asked, like um for help or support? And you may not even see that in some days.
I was gonna say it's hard because I'm like, I'm sure if I brought Kimberly on, she could be like, oh,
Let me tell you.
like, let's
Right?
talk about this one. And I do get pinged on some of them, but
That's too funny.
I mean, there's still people out there that there's still. I think that for us within the company, we feel a lot of the frustration. So we get we do interact with a lot of people who they haven't reached out to us until they're kind of already at their wits end, or something's happening and they're in like a snowball type experience where, and it's fine, like our team is
Right.
phenomenal, and they will
Calm
talk
them
it
down.
down, talk it
Just
through,
stop.
help work it out, right? Like, yeah, help with the husha, like just like but oh gosh, I wish I had a better like answer for
No, it's
that.
okay. It's okay.
um
I guess in the
but
event world, like for us, I mean, at
yeah.
weddings, like the stuff that happens is just like what? That really happened? I'm like, yeah, that happened.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I feel from that side, like the pre, um,
Right.
showing up to a catering event and like literally the wrong truck went to the wrong place, and like you've got a completely wrong. I mean, I have been on event site and like run to Giant and gone grocery shopping because it's like, things didn't make it.
Hmm.
Like, but yeah, from the aisle planner side, it's it's interesting because we are the technology side, so we're a lot of
Right.
we're the before, right? We're not the during. We definitely are the after, and I love that your client wanted to get back in and like saw that
Yeah.
value in having all of that information
Hmm.
stored
Yeah.
forever, as far
I
as you're
know.
concerned, unless you delete it. um
Right.
but yeah, I mean, I think that that's more of like, we understand, we see the frustrations, we're there to help. I mean, gosh, now I'm trying to think because I feel like there have
No,
probably been
you're
some like
good. You're
client
good.
issues. They're major,
No.
major. We see it a lot where it's like the after. I don't know why this happens, and I'm sure you've got these stories too. You feel like you have a great relationship with your customer, and then all of a sudden, like day of, week of, and then after, like just a different person emerges,
Hmm.
and the issues
Definitely have
they're
seen
bringing
that.
up and like their complaints and all of that just becomes like, whoa, 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 like where did any of this come from? And so we'll end up dealing with a lot of that on our end as well, helping them create documentation because you just planned this gorgeous event for this couple, and it's and you thought it went seamlessly and it was
Amazing.
phenomenal. And then all of a sudden the next day they're like, we hated everything, give us our money back. And you're like, what in the world?
I
Like,
call that buyer's remorse when
oh,
people do that. I'm like, oops, I'm sorry, he spent too much.
right. So then we'll help like create like all that documentation and pull together all of those resources to give them fight in the, or give them
Right.
a game in the fight.
Yeah.
But yeah,
No, for sure. No, that's cool. And I mean, with stories and things like that, like event side is way different than you said the technology side. Not that it's boring, but it's very like efficient and it's just technology.
yeah.
So,
I mean, we definitely have our customers like who will like vent to us, but it's not it's not about the technology. It's just
no.
because we build those relationships and those core. Um,
I know. I think one of our girls saw the other day there was going to be an update on Aisle Planner, and they were like, "Oh no!" And I'm like, "You'll be able to get back in."
it's like 15
Like,
minutes. Yeah,
yeah, I
we go down
know.
real short. It
Yeah.
does have to go down in order to come back up. Like, but
No, it's just funny. And normally it's like in the middle of the night or somewhere crazy.
especially for you guys because we do it at like
Yeah,
9 p.m. Pacific Standard
yeah,
Time. So for
yeah.
y'all, it's like midnight. But yeah,
Cool. Awesome. Well, thank you for coming on to this Takes the Cake, and see you next time.